So in my last video, I showed how I scanned my Chevy truck with the FARO ScanArm. Then I took that mesh data and brought it into Fusion. This time we're going to work with it. So this is a dent in my truck, and I want to make something that fits directly into the dent rather than Bondo or something like that. The yellow side protrudes into the dent, so we're going to need to keep that surface, and we're going to work coming forward from the gray side. But first things first, I've inserted my mesh into Fusion, and it's best if we can reduce the mesh a little bit. Fusion doesn't handle meshes all that well, or at least it's very laggy. So I'm willing to accept this minor degradation in detail to have a much more usable product in Fusion. So I'm going to go ahead and create that sketch and surface outline that intersects with this mesh. Then I'm going to go into the mesh tab and convert that mesh into a surface. What that's going to allow me to do is use the surface tools on it, and I'm going to trim up these areas. I'm going to get rid of some of these overlaps, but it was important that they intersected so we could trim off the edges of the mesh that we don't need and trim down this surface. Ultimately, what we're trying to do here is get to a solid. The way I'm going to do that is trim off some excess part of the scan and stitch these surfaces together until they represent a solid. All right, there we have it. So this thing just needs one surface patch on the back side, which is pretty simple. Then we're going to stitch all these surfaces together to make a solid, and that's really the end goal. That allows us to do virtually anything we want to in Fusion, but before this, we're kind of stuck with this mesh that may not have too many options on what we could do with it. All right, looks like it's going to stitch together all those surfaces. You can't see the windows that I'm clicking in, but I'm accepting that it got every surface joined up, and now you can see I have a solid, and I can edit with it in the solid tab. I'm going to go ahead and sketch on the back side here. We'll put some text. We're going to say, ouch. And I'm going to put that along a path that I grabbed on my sketch there. Explode that text and extrude into my solid to give it just a little bit of negative depth there. And, give it a rounded corner to make it look nice. And there we have it. That's the solid. So we're going to take that and export that STL mesh. We convert it back into a mesh from the CAD file. We're going to import that into my 3D printer slicer software where I'll prep it for printing. And we can see the preview there. I didn't use support. I'm hoping my printer can bridge those gaps there. And the printer did really well. It printed out the geometry pretty accurately for an inexpensive home printer. And it really just fits right into that dent. So the geometry matches up almost perfect. You can almost feel it snap into place. So that's a full scan to CAD to 3D print workflow.